Scientists just confirmed what mystics have known for centuries. Your reality isn't solid, it isn't fixed. It's a field of quantum probability, waiting for your consciousness to decide what shows up. Right now, every possible version of your life exists simultaneously in a superposition of potential outcomes. The relationship you want, the health you desire, the abundance you're seeking, all of it already exists as probability waves. And here's what's wild. The act of observing, of focusing your awareness with intention, literally collapses these waves into your physical experience. This isn't philosophy, this is quantum physics. And in this video, you'll learn exactly how reality works at the quantum level, why your consciousness is the most powerful creative tool in existence, and 4 specific techniques to consciously reshape your world. The fourth one connects to something even more profound that I'll reveal at the end. Let's start with something that might break your brain a little bit. In 1927, at the 5th Solvay Conference, the greatest minds in physics gathered to discuss a problem that was tearing apart everything they thought they knew about reality. Werner Heisenberg, Niels Bohr, Albert Einstein, all in one room, debating something so strange, so counterintuitive, that even Einstein couldn't accept it. And what they were arguing about was this: reality at the quantum level doesn't exist in a definite state until someone observes it. Before observation, particles exist as waves of probability. They're everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. And only when consciousness enters the picture, only when awareness focuses on them, do they collapse from infinite potential into a single, definite state. This is called wave function collapse. And it's not a fringe theory, it's the foundation of quantum mechanics. It's been proven experimentally thousands of times, and the implications for your life, for manifestation, for conscious reality creation are absolutely staggering. Today, we're going deeper than we've ever gone. I'm going to share 4 major insights that will completely reframe how you understand reality. First, what quantum physics actually reveals about the nature of your world. Second, how reality exists as quantum probability waves before you interact with it. Third, how consciousness collapses these probability states into solid experience. And fourth, the advanced reality programming methods that let you consciously select which probabilities become your lived reality. And that fourth technique, it leads directly into something called the zero-point field, which is where unlimited creative power lives. I'll tell you more about that at the end. So stay with me, because this isn't just information. This is a complete paradigm shift. Here's where we need to start, the double slit experiment. If you haven't heard of it, this is the experiment that changed everything. Scientists shot individual photons, particles of light, through 2 narrow slits onto a screen behind them. Now, if light were just particles, like tiny balls, you'd expect to see 2 lines on the screen, one behind each slit. But that's not what happened. Instead, they saw an interference pattern, alternating light and dark bands, which only happens when waves overlap and interfere with each other. So light was behaving like a wave, but here's where it gets weird. When scientists placed a detector at the slits to observe which slit each photon went through, the interference pattern disappeared. Suddenly, the photons behaved like particles again, creating just 2 lines. The act of observation changed the outcome. Consciousness, or at least measurement, collapsed the wave of probability into a particle of reality. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's interesting, but what does that have to do with my life? Everything. Because in the world of manifestation, we believe this principle doesn't just apply to photons in a lab. It applies to your entire experienced reality. Your life, right now, exists as a field of quantum probability. Multiple timelines, multiple outcomes, multiple versions of your story, all existing simultaneously as waves of potential. And your consciousness, your focused awareness, your beliefs, your emotional state, these are what collapse those waves into the specific reality you experience. You're not a passive observer watching a fixed movie. You're the mechanism that selects which movie plays. Dr. Joe Dispenza has spent decades researching this intersection between quantum physics and human consciousness. His work shows that when people enter deep meditative states and generate elevated emotions like gratitude, joy, or love while visualizing desired outcomes, measurable changes occur not just in their brain chemistry but in their external circumstances. Synchronicities increase, opportunities appear, health conditions reverse. It's as if the quantum field itself responds to coherent intention. And from a quantum perspective, this makes perfect sense. If reality is fundamentally probability until observed, then a clear, coherent, emotionally charged observation should influence which probabilities manifest. This is quantum reality creation in action. But here's what most people don't understand. The collapse isn't happening because you wish really hard. It's happening because of resonance. Your consciousness emits a frequency, an electromagnetic signature generated by your heart and brain. When that signature is coherent, when your thoughts and emotions align, when you're not split between wanting something and believing you can't have it, you broadcast a clear signal into the quantum field. And the field, being responsive, being intelligent in a way we're only beginning to understand, mirrors that. If this is landing for you, if you're starting to see reality differently, hit subscribe and the bell icon next to it. Also join our manifestation club on gogetter.au. Because this isn't just a channel, this is a frequency. If you felt a shift while watching, you're already tuned in. We're not just consuming content, we're practicing new ways of being. We're not just absorbing, we're creating possibilities. We're not just learning, we're remembering. I'm truly glad you're here. Let's keep growing and shifting together. Alright, let's talk about the first major insight, what quantum physics actually reveals about reality's nature. At the subatomic level, everything you see, your body, your phone, the walls around you, is made of atoms, and atoms are 99.999% empty space. The nucleus is tiny, and the electrons orbiting it are even tinier. The space between them, proportionally, is like the distance between the sun and the planets. So if almost everything is empty space, what's actually there? What's holding it all together? Quantum fields, energy fields that permeate all of space. And these fields don't contain solid particles. They contain excitations, vibrations, waves of probability that only appear as particles when measured. Reality, at its most fundamental level, isn't made of stuff. It's made of potential. It's made of information. It's made of quantum probability waves waiting to be collapsed into form. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle tells us that you can't know both the position and momentum of a particle simultaneously. The more precisely you measure one, the less precisely you can know the other. Why? Because the particle doesn't have a definite position or momentum until you measure it. Before that, it exists in a superposition of all possible positions and momentums at once. Schrödinger's famous cat thought experiment illustrated this. A cat in a box with a radioactive atom that might or might not decay. Until you open the box and observe, the cat is both alive and dead simultaneously, existing in a superposition of states. Now, obviously, a cat is a macroscopic object, and quantum effects usually don't scale up to that level in such an obvious way. But the principle holds. At the quantum level, things exist in multiple states until consciousness interacts with them. And here's the question that physicists have been wrestling with for a century. What counts as an observation? Does it require a conscious observer, or is any interaction enough? Some interpretations say consciousness is essential, others say any measurement device will do. But the fact remains, something about the act of observing collapses the wave function. Something about awareness selecting a specific outcome from infinite possibilities creates the reality we experience. And whether or not mainstream physics is ready to fully embrace consciousness as the collapsing mechanism, those of us working with quantum reality and manifestation have seen the evidence firsthand. When you change your internal state, your external world shifts. not metaphorically, literally. The second insight is understanding reality as quantum probability waves. Before you walk into a room, that room exists in your awareness as a field of possibilities. The quantum physics reality is that countless potential configurations exist simultaneously. The light could be on or off. Your friend could be there or not. The temperature could be warm or cool. In a sense, all of these possibilities exist as overlapping probability waves. And the moment you enter, the moment your consciousness engages with that space, the wave function collapses. One specific configuration becomes real. Now, this doesn't mean the room was literally in all states at once in the way we think of physical objects. But it does mean that at the quantum level, the particles making up that room were in superposition, and your interaction brought about a specific arrangement. Think about your future. Right now, from a quantum perspective, your future isn't written. It's not a single predetermined path. It's a probability distribution. Some futures are more likely than others based on your current trajectory, but none are certain. Every choice you make, every thought you think, every emotion you feel, subtly shifts the probability distribution. Some futures become more likely, others fade. And the futures that become most probable are the ones that resonate with your dominant frequency. If you're constantly broadcasting fear, lack, and limitation, the probability waves that align with those frequencies are more likely to collapse into your experience. But if you shift your frequency to abundance, trust, and possibility, different probability waves become dominant. Different realities become likely. This is the core of consciousness. Neville Goddard, one of the great mystics of the 20th century, taught this principle long before quantum mechanics became mainstream. He said that your imagination is the creative power of the universe, and that by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled, by inhabiting the state of already having what you desire, you shift into the probability wave where that outcome exists. He didn't use quantum language, but he understood the mechanics. Consciousness creates reality not by force, but by alignment, by resonance. By inhabiting the frequency of the desired outcome so fully that the quantum field has no choice but to reflect it back. In the comments, drop one thing you truly want to manifest and why it's important to you right now. Be honest, be you. Because naming it, declaring it, that's part of the process. That's you sending a signal into the quantum field, collapsing probability waves in your favor. Your words have power, your intention has weight. Now we get to the third insight, and this is where it gets practical. How does consciousness actually collapse reality states? What's the mechanism? It starts with coherence. Imagine throwing a handful of pebbles into a still pond. Each pebble creates ripples that interfere with each other, creating chaos. Now imagine dropping a single stone into the center. The ripples move outward in perfect, coherent circles. That's the difference between a scattered, conflicted mind and a focused, coherent consciousness. When your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs align, when there's no internal contradiction, you generate a coherent electromagnetic field. Research from the HeartMath Institute has measured this. Your heart generates the strongest electromagnetic field in your body, and when you're in a state of coherence, gratitude, love, appreciation, that field becomes smooth and ordered. It radiates outward, and in that coherent state, you're not just broadcasting static into the quantum field, you're broadcasting a clear, powerful signal. Dr. Joe Dispenza's students have demonstrated this in controlled studies. When people meditate with focused intention, generating the emotions of their desired reality while visualizing it clearly, they show increased coherence in their heart rhythms and brain waves. And in the weeks following these meditations, they report significant life changes. New jobs appear, relationships heal, health improves, synchronicities multiply. Now, skeptics would say that's confirmation bias or placebo effect. But when thousands of people report the same pattern, when the changes are measurable and documented, it becomes harder to dismiss. Something real is happening. Consciousness is interacting with quantum reality in a way that reshapes probability distributions. Here's the technique, the consciousness collapse protocol. First, get clear on what you want to experience, not in vague terms like I want to be happy, but in specific, sensory rich detail. What does that reality look like? What does it feel like in your body? What do you see, hear, touch? Build the scene in your mind as vividly as possible. Second, generate the emotion of already having it, not the emotion of wanting it, the emotion of living it. If it's financial abundance, feel the relief, the freedom, the gratitude. If it's a healed relationship, feel the warmth, the connection, the love. Emotion is the language of the quantum field. It's the carrier wave that delivers your intention. Third, sustain that state. Don't just dip into it for 30 seconds and then return to doubt. Stay there, marinate in it. Let your nervous system recalibrate to this new baseline. 5 minutes minimum. 10 is better. 15 is transformational. And fourth, release attachment to how it shows up. This is crucial. The quantum field has access to pathways and possibilities your conscious mind can't conceive. When you try to control the how, you limit the field's options. Instead, focus on the what and the feeling, and trust the field to organize the details. Trust the quantum probability waves to collapse in alignment with your coherent signal. This is quantum reality manipulation, not through force, but through surrender, through becoming a clear channel for reality creation. If you felt even 1% more aligned after this, hit like and subscribe. Let's grow together. If this hits 1000 likes, I'll drop another part with advanced consciousness reality techniques that will blow you away. Also join our manifestation club on gogetter.au and become part of a global community transforming how we create reality. Let me tell you why this matters so much on a personal level. A few years ago, I was living in a reality I didn't consciously choose. I was repeating patterns, attracting the same types of relationships, hitting the same financial ceilings, experiencing the same health challenges. And I kept thinking, why does this keep happening to me? As if I were a victim of circumstance. But then I discovered this framework. I realized that my unconscious beliefs, my unexamined emotional patterns, these were the observations collapsing my reality. I wasn't consciously choosing, I was unconsciously repeating. And the quantum field, being neutral, was simply reflecting back what I was broadcasting. So I started the work, I started meditating with clear intention, I started rewiring my nervous system, I started inhabiting the feeling states of the reality I actually wanted. And slowly, things shifted. Not overnight, not magically, but consistently. Opportunities appeared that weren't there before. People showed up who matched my new frequency. My health improved, my income increased, and it wasn't because I worked harder. It was because I changed the signal I was sending into the quantum field. Now, the fourth insight. The advanced reality programming methods. This is for those of you who are ready to take full responsibility for your experience, who are willing to see that every aspect of your current reality is a reflection of your dominant frequency, your habitual observations, your unconscious programming, and that by changing those, you change everything. The first method is pattern interruption. Your brain runs on autopilot most of the time, repeating the same thoughts, generating the same emotions, creating the same neural pathways, and those pathways are collapsing the same reality over and over. So you have to interrupt the pattern. When you notice yourself falling into familiar thought loops, especially negative ones, stop. Literally say stop out loud if you need to. Then consciously choose a different thought, a different emotion, a different focus. This rewires the brain. It breaks the cycle. It stops you from unconsciously collapsing the same probability waves you've been collapsing your whole life. The second method is identity shifting. In quantum physics reality, who you believe you are determines what you observe. If you identify as someone who struggles with money, the quantum field will keep presenting you with evidence of that identity. Opportunities will pass you by. Unexpected expenses will appear. You'll interpret events through the lens of lack. But if you shift your identity, if you start seeing yourself as someone who is abundant, who is supported, who is aligned with prosperity, different probability waves become accessible. Different realities become possible. Neville Goddard called this assumption. Assume the identity of the person living your desired reality, and the quantum field will reorganize to match that assumption. The third method is time collapse meditation. In quantum mechanics, time isn't what we think it is. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously in what's called the block universe. Your future self already exists as a probability wave, and through focused meditation, you can connect with that future self, feel into their reality, and literally pull that probability forward into your present moment. Here's how you do it. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself 6 months, a year, 5 years from now, living your ideal reality. See it clearly, feel it fully. Now, from that future perspective, look back at your current self. What advice does your future self have? What actions did they take to get there? What beliefs did they hold? Let that information flow to you, and then bring that frequency, that knowing, that certainty back into your present body. You're not just visualizing, you're quantum tunneling. You're collapsing the distance between where you are and where you want to be by aligning with the probability wave of your desired future. Comment down below one word that captures the energy you're stepping into today. Trust, flow, abundance, clarity, power. Whatever it is, your word matters. Because when you name it, when you claim it, you're activating that quantum probability. You're telling the field, this is my frequency now. And this connects to something profound that I need to tell you about. Everything we've talked about today, the wave function collapse, the probability distributions, the consciousness interaction, all of it is happening within a larger field. A field that contains infinite potential. It's called the 0-point field. And it's the source of unlimited creative power. It's the canvas on which all quantum probabilities are painted. And when you learn to tap into the 0-point field directly, when you access that infinite energy source, manifestation becomes effortless. Reality creation becomes natural. I made an entire. Make sure you share this video with your loved ones. For you, it may be just sharing, but for someone else, it could be the breakthrough they've been searching for. You're not just sharing information, you're spreading the frequency of conscious reality creation. You're helping someone remember their power. So let's bring this full circle. Your reality is not solid, it's not fixed, it's not happening to you. In the world of manifestation, we believe it's a field of quantum probability, constantly responsive to your consciousness. Every moment, you're collapsing waves of potential into particles of experience. And the question is, are you doing it consciously or unconsciously? Are you selecting the reality you want, or are you repeating the reality you've always known? Because the quantum field doesn't judge, it doesn't reward or punish, it simply reflects. It mirrors back the frequency you're broadcasting. And when you understand that, when you really get it, everything changes. You stop being a victim. You stop waiting for circumstances to shift. You realize that you are the shift. You are the observation that collapses reality. You are the consciousness that creates. The double-slit experiment proved that observation affects outcome. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle showed that particles don't have definite states until measured. Quantum entanglement demonstrated that consciousness and matter are interconnected in ways we are still discovering. And all of this points to one undeniable truth. Consciousness and reality are not separate. They're entangled, they're dancing together, and you're not watching the dance, you're leading it. This is quantum physics reality meeting consciousness reality, and the result is that you have far more creative power than you've been taught to believe. The techniques we covered, the consciousness collapse protocol, the pattern interruption, the identity shifting, the time collapse meditation, these are your tools. These are how you move from unconscious creation to conscious reality creation. These are how you work with quantum probability instead of against it. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, you're not trying to manifest anymore. You're just living in alignment. You're just selecting from the infinite menu of possibilities with clarity and trust. You're just collapsing the probability waves that match your highest vision, and life becomes an adventure instead of a struggle. Here's my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, practice the consciousness collapse protocol. Every morning, get clear on one desired outcome, generate the emotion of already having it, sustain that state for at least 10 minutes, and then release and trust. Watch what happens. Watch how synchronicities appear. Watch how opportunities open. Watch how the quantum field responds to your coherent intention. And then come back here and tell me about it. Share your experience in the comments, because your story might activate someone else's breakthrough. If this made sense to you, if you're ready to step into conscious reality creation, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Like to anchor it, comment what clicked, share this gift with one person who needs it, and join our manifestation club on gogetter.au. Because this isn't just content, this is a movement. This is a global community of conscious creators learning to work with quantum reality instead of being tossed around by it, and you're part of it now. And remember, this is just the beginning. The 0 point field video I mentioned, that's where we take everything from this conversation and go even deeper. That's where you learn to access the infinite energy source that powers all manifestation. That's where unlimited creative power becomes available to you. So click and watch it now. Your future self is already there, waiting for you to collapse that probability wave and step into it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to expand your understanding of reality. Thank you for recognizing that you're not a passive observer but an active creator. You're not watching quantum probability unfold, you're directing it, you're collapsing it, you're shaping it with every thought, every emotion, every belief. And now that you know that, now that you've seen behind the curtain, there's no going back. You can't unsee this, and that's beautiful, because now the real work begins. Now you get to consciously create. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay coherent, stay aligned, and remember, reality is waiting for your observation. Make it count.